We always complain that our government is so inefficient and all the rest of it, but they can be efficient if they wanted to be. Right? And this is one of those examples, because to declare emergency is very leceh, you know. It's very leceh. You know, you got to go to the Agong, please. You know, and you know, I don't know. You say he can say no. When has he ever said no? I don't know, but you know. I have to be very careful. I'm going to talk in a few years' time. Just cari pasal. Okay, but then, you know, after that you got to make ordinance, you know, emergency ordinances if you want to do specific things. But here we have this law and we have this council. It's all there, ready, you know, anytime. So efficient, right? Okay, and they can set up a security area, and it could be any size. It could be small, it could be like this room, it could be Sarawak, you know, it could be Sabah, it could be Penang, you know, it could be any size, it could be the whole country. It could be a security area. And within the security area, they can do all sorts of things. Alright, okay? So, but because it's so efficient, because this thing is all, you know, it's perpetually there, he can use his power. I wonder who he is. Huh? He can use his power anytime. I mean, like, so if you have a birthday rally, for example, right, they can declare the area where we plan to have a rally as a security area. Right? Correct? So, this is my plan. If we want to have any more rallies, we organize in Bukit Damansara or Bukit Tungku, where all these rich people live. Alright, okay? All the kawan-kawan menteri, they live in these places. Okay, we organize over there. Alright, and then let's let them declare the security area, and then all these rich people will panic. Because one of the things that you can do in the security area is take over property of people. So they will take over this Tan Sri's house, that Dato's house. They can also destroy. They can also move these people. They can move people from Bukit Tungku to somewhere really low class, like Bangsa. Oh my God, how can I live in Bangsa? Okay, so when next time we organize big rallies, we do it in these places. Yeah, betul. Biar dia declare security area. So anyway, okay, cool down. Right, now, Andrew said, once bitten, twice shy. No, once bitten. They've been biting us on the ass continuously. It's sore, sakit. Because dah kena gigit berapa kali dah kena gigit, tak berhenti-henti. You know, gigit, berhenti sekejap, gigit lagi. Not me, huh? Okay, so let's look at okay. You see, this kind of laws, you know, you would imagine that it is for militaristic issues, you know, because it's a very militaristic law. Because you know, the security forces who can do anything that they want in the security area is the police and the army. Right? So it's a militaristic approach to problem solving. Okay, and the problem is like what Mr. Lim said, was that the definition of what is national security is so broad. Yeah, it could include things which are definitely not militaristic. Okay, so when you think about these kind of things, emergency or security area and all the rest of it, you generally consider it as important or necessary if there is a military threat or if there's a threat of armed conflict. But let's look at our emergency powers and how they've been using it. Okay, so over the past few years, okay, some of the things may be arguably possible. You know, it's justified. Maybe confrontasi. You know, although I don't know how violent the confrontasi actually was. You know, and perhaps 1969. I'm not quite sure. But let me point out two other occurrences where an emergency was declared in Sarawak in 1966 and Kelantan in 1977. Basically, Sarawak and Kelantan were political problems. An emergency was declared not for anything violent, but for political issue, a political problem. Strangely enough, both involving Menteri Besars who are either for or against Barisan, and they don't know what to do with them. Right, like Stephen Kalong Inkan, for example, he didn't want to. He was becoming a problem for the federal government because he was, well, according to them, crazy lah. I don't know, but So what they did was they declared an emergency, and then when there was an emergency declared, they said that they changed the law for the state, saying that now the governor of Sarawak can call for a meeting of the state legislature without the request of the chief minister. Because Stephen was not going to give it. Because he knows, so he wasn't going to give it. So so now they gave the power to the governor to call for a meeting of the state legislative assembly, and the governor did. And then when the state legislative assembly was together, they then could cast a vote of no confidence against Stephen Karunginkan, and that's what they did. So where is the military problem here? Where was the threat to, the real threat to national security? It was a political issue, a political problem, and they used their emergency powers to solve their political problem. Right? The same thing. The same thing happened in Kelantan. Yeah, because in the PAS MB, he was expelled from PAS. Because he was too friendly to, you know this better than me, he was too friendly with the UMNO LBN. Times don't change. You just say history repeating itself, doesn't it? Suddenly what is past, sayang sangat ke UMNO. So anyway, this is history. This is not current issues, history. So he was expelled from PAS and he lost his vote, no confidence in the House. Am I correct? Yeah. Okay. But normally he would have to ask for so he asked for dissolution from the regent of Kelantan, because at that time it's the current Kelantan Sultan's grandfather was the king. So the current Kelantan Sultan's father was the regent. Okay. So he was the regent in Kelantan. And he was in charge, and so Nasir asked for the region to dissolve Parliament, state legislative assembly, so that they could have fresh elections. Okay, but the Sultan didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. He kept the region. He kept very quiet. And that was the other choice. Nasir had to resign along with his cabinet, but he didn't want to do that. Okay, so you had this constitutional impasse. Right? You had this constitutional impasse. So what do? You solve it politically? You solve it diplomatically? No, you declare emergency. You declare emergency, and your argument is, there could be protest. What? Protest? Protest is emergency, is it? This is why I bring my birthday scarf, is it? Protest can be emergency. They use that argument in Kelantan. I'm sure they'll use it again now. Okay, so what do? They create, they form emergency, and basically the federal government took over Kelantan for a few months until they could dissolve the state legislative assembly, and they could have elections which UMNO won. I think Barisan won, right? The next one, and Kelantan has been suffering ever since. My point here is that in both cases, there was no real threat to national security. They were both political problems. And they used whatever power they had to solve their political problems. Now, if we give them this law, if we give them this power, what on earth makes anyone think they will not use it to solve their problems and not our problems? Thank you very much.